What is going on, everybody? Welcome to the final regular season baseball crunch time. Can you guys hear me?
I can hear you.
Oh, all right. My video froze on mine. All right, so we're looking good over here. Welcome to the final regular season crunch time, everybody. I'm Britt Devine. TJ's here. He's just behind the scenes today. We got Chief. We got my man Tim here. I hope both of your guys' families are doing good with the hurricane down there. I heard some pretty horrible details. I've seen online of what's going on down there. Chief, give me an idea of what you've heard, seen happening down there.
It's rough in some places. My parents still have no power. I had one of my friends tell me his mayor said they're not going to have power for at least another 3 or 4 days where he lives. And I didn't get a chance to. I haven't been able to get to my parents, but they do still have like their cell phone service. So I've been able to talk with them. And, my mom said her yard looks like a war zone, or my mom and dad's yard said it looks like a war zone. Like they had trees fall down their power lines, and they did have some people out there like cutting up trees and stuff today. But it was rough, man. I mean, 60, 70 mile an hour winds was not an exaggeration. I was home and while it was happening. And it was certainly, a lot of wind, etc. But all in all, everybody's good. Like I've talked to most of my immediate family, and everybody's like, okay, just no power. And same thing for like my in-laws too, like no power, nothing. So, just in the storm, I don't know. It was a lot of wind, man. It didn't get to you, right, Brett? I don't think it got to you all the way.
No, I'm in upstate
Right.
New York, so I'm safe from that. But I know, Tim, your family members haven't heard from in a couple of days. I hope everything's going on there. Same from you.
Yeah.
Seems like usually all I ever have to deal with in upstate New York is we get a little bit of windstorms. We used to get a lot of snow. Now we're lucky if it snows, 5 or 6 times a year up here. But I hope everything's good with you, Tim. What's going on? What's your impact from that storm?
Yeah, my sister lives in Asheville, North Carolina, and there's no power or cell phone service or anything. So we have not heard from her in 48 hours, and we've seen some horrible things there. So we are hoping that she's doing well. I'm not, we'll see. So I mean, hopefully she still has her house. I'm not sure though, because she lives right in the middle of Asheville. So,
oh my goodness. Well, I hope everything's okay for both of your families. And just a big storm. I was looking a little earlier, didn't realize just how devastating this is going to be for like the entire southeast region for years and years down there. Just a lot of rain. Hope everything's good for both of your families. So we're going to switch now to baseball. And Tim, we were talking pre-show. TJ, pull this up. The most important thing about today's slate is what, Tim? It's this Nationals game, and it looks like we have, well, barring something insane happening, it looks like the Nationals just went ahead bigly on the Phillies here. So this means, I don't know, are we going to pay these exorbitant prices for a couple of bats from these Dodgers starters possibly?
yeah, I mean, it's kind of a really, really strange situation. Like when I first saw the score of that game, I was like, well, it's definitely going to be super Dodgers chalk all over again. Now it's like, I don't understand why Dave Roberts would have his guys play the entire game. It just doesn't make any sense to me. But the problem is, it wouldn't shock me either if we got 4 at-bats from everybody. So it's like really, really hard for me to decipher like what I'm supposed to be doing on the slate. Right now I have Otani in my single entry team. But now that the Nationals are probably going to win this game, I'm not, so I don't know if I'm going to keep it that way.
Would you, Chief? So if I told you, I know you always like to play those games. What if I told you Otani needs another home run to be in the 55 club? Does that, so he's at 54 homers, 57 stolen bases. Does that do anything for you? What do you think they're going to do? Because this is now turned into the key to the slate. Because if the Nationals win, the Dodgers have nothing to play for. The Dodgers have nothing to play for. You'd think they would take some of their star players out of the game. I know the lineup's in. Maybe they could change the lineup. I don't know how all that works. What are your thoughts? Let's pretend the Nationals win. That's what it's going to look like. What are we doing here with these Dodgers?
Oh boy, I don't think I'm playing them unless they just rule everybody out and give us like a B team lineup. Because then at that point, I feel pretty confident those guys get their at bats. I'm not really interested in the Dodgers today because they don't have anything to play for. But once again, if we see somewhat of a B team lineup, like for instance, if Betts is in there, but then we've got like Pie Hayes and all these other random guys. I'm just throwing names out that we've seen throughout the year. I'm not saying they're there with the organization, whatever. But if he sits, or if we see like a partial lineup, like Otani's in, but no Betts, no Muncy, no Will Smith, then that gives me an indication that okay, like Otani's probably going to get 3-4 at bats, and they're just kind of resting guys to get ready. And at that point, I think I'm way more interested in playing the Dodgers against Senzatella.
Yeah, if anyone is out there on Twitter and they see something about a possible lineup change, about resting or anything like that that's coming up, because now it seems like the Phillies are going to lose this game, please put that in YouTube, ping me in the Discord, in the chat, and we will try to discuss that as quickly as possible, because this is basically now the key to the slate. Any one of these guys, any one of Otani, Betts, Teoscar, I mean, any one of these top players can easily get 1, 2, 3 at bats, right?
Yeah, I mean that's what I'm worried about is that he's going to start these guys, but they're not necessarily going to finish. That's my problem with the slate. Maybe we're overthinking it. Maybe they all just play the entire game, but you're gonna have to make that decision, right? Like I'm going to play the slate like the Dodgers are going to play normal, or I'm going to play the slate like the Dodgers only get 2 ABs and start throwing some bench guys, right? Like, so initially I was going to play 3 Dodgers. Now I might not play any. So I'm not really sure. It's very hard to quantify what exactly is supposed to happen on the slate when it comes to the Dodgers.
Yeah, and of course they're in course in the absolute best possible spot.
And the weather's amazing too.
It's nuts. All Philly had to do was come through, and they're blowing it against Washington.
Right. The weather's amazing in course for hitting too. So it's almost 90 degrees in Colorado. So it's like the absolute like perfect spot for this Dodgers team.
Yeah. So chat's got some speculation. The Dodgers lineup's out. Are they going to change it? I think the problem is they don't change it, and Otani gets 1 at bat. Betts gets 2 at bats.
That's what I think is going to happen is that they're not going to change the lineup, and then you might see these guys
are already boozing it. They're already boozing in the clubhouse right now. So
right. So that's what I think is going to happen is that they're not going to change anything, and guys like Mookie or like Teoscar or Otani only play 1 or 2 at bats.
All right. So please, if anyone sees something, ping me in the Discord. Let us know on YouTube. Someone please keep an eye if you see something on Twitter about a lineup change or any speculation from a beat writer on what may or may not happen, and we will try to get to that as soon as possible. But other than that, let's jump right into starting pitching. Tim, is there any starting pitching today? Because it doesn't look really good. It's, the second to last day of the Major League Baseball season. I was looking at a couple of things. Rodriguez, to me, might look like the safest, right? Something to play for, a watered-down San Diego lineup. What more do you want on the slate that we have currently today? Yamamoto. I mean, dude could pitch, 2 or 3 innings today, right? Because why would you risk him, right? Of all Dodgers pitchers, why would you throw him out there for any longer than he needed to be in a possible meaningless game other than possibly prep him for the playoffs? Hancock looks okay. Going up against Oakland here. There's question marks basically everywhere except to me for Rodriguez, Hancock. Zebby's in a reasonably good spot. How are you handling this? And this allows us to pay up for the $8,100 on DraftKings Otani. I was shocked to see that today. But after making lineups, I was like, this is no problem to get him in there.
Right.
But now
even with an $8,100 Otani, salary really isn't a thing because you cannot you really can't play Ronaldo Lopez. No disrespect to Derek Carty, but Seth Lugo is not going to be pitching 89 pitches. They've already said he's going to be limited to 2 to 3 innings. So he is not throwing 90 pitches. So you cannot play Seth Lugo. So you cannot play Tobias Myers either. So you're already taking out 3 of the most expensive pitchers on the entire slate. Yamamoto I think that's an interesting case. Like he might go like four innings, and against this lineup at 8,300, like I think that's okay. I think personally Emerson Hancock is my favorite, but I don't mind the Erod call either. I would say Hancock is my personal favorite. I don't mind Andrew Heaney. I know that sounds awful, but I think anybody who's going to not be limited and pitch against this Angels squad is completely fine. And he's only 7,700. So I really don't mind Andrew Heaney. So like Hancock, Erod, Heaney, Zebby. And then we'll talk about Griffin Canning too, because we got to talk about the Rangers, but also I think Canning is viable also. But
are you worried? I was just thinking through this in my head on Erod. This is basically a playoff game, right? If things go sideways and he's, it's the 3rd inning and it's 2-2 and he might not have his best stuff, think he gets a hook?
Oh, I definitely think he gets a hook.
So
yeah. I mean, I still think my favorite is still Emerson Hancock, but I mean, Erod, I mean, if he's, the Padres have nothing to play for, so hopefully he can get through this lineup. But and then I think we got to talk about Jose Quintana too, because that's the same kind of situation. This is a must-win game for the Mets. So if he's on, he's going to stay out there. And if he struggles early, he's going to get the hook real early as well.
Yeah, so there's no recovery in the 3rd, 4th, 5th inning for probably Erod or Quintana tonight, right?
Right. I mean, absolutely not. So, I mean, I think that's why I really like, Andrew Heaney and Emerson Hancock instead, because they're going to actually have like a really solid leash. Or Zebby.
Chief, where are you at starting pitching tonight? Oh, you're on mute again, my friend.
Sorry about that. So tonight's different for me. I'm not multi-entering for MLB. I'm just playing one lineup, and I've settled in on Heaney and Erod. That's the combination I'm going to end up with. And I'm just going to let the chips fall where they may. If I was multi-entering, like I did kind of, get a pool together, and then clearly I didn't put Yamamoto in my pool or Seth Lugo. I didn't put Ronaldo Lopez in there either. My pool starts with Andrew Heaney as the top guy and works its way down, and that's how I decided to play the slate. So, but once again, this is a different type of slate. It's 7 games, and I do think you want to spend up for some bats. So my pool was Griffin Canning, Estes, Hancock, and Heaney, and not because they're good, mostly because they're cheap. And I do think Heaney has the best matchup out of this group. And I just hope these guys do what they're supposed to do. And I didn't say Erod, but clearly Erod's in there. But so 5 pitchers for this particular slate, and I'm going to end up with Erod.
I do want to note that is a final, so it's 6-3. Nationals have won. I've got a couple Twitter columns lined up trying to see searches that'll feed into me to see if I can get any insight on what the Dodgers may or may not do. But the Dodgers do have absolutely nothing to play for. So just please pay attention to that when you make your lineups. Anything else, Tim, you want to talk about, or do you want to move over to offense? Let's just recap real quick. So, and I think I've talked to myself. I was on Erod, but I like you. If he's on, it's great. But if he's off even a little bit, there's a quick hook probably in this game for them. Where Hancock, who cares, right? Who cares what Emerson? If he has a bad first inning, he's going to be allowed to recover in this game to possibly get us the fantasy points. So I've moved maybe more towards the Hancock, Zebby, Heaney type of pitchers too. Does that sort of mesh with what you're thinking about?
Yeah, I mean, it does definitely.
Right.
Do you think people can play Yamamoto in like a single entry or cash game type format?
I guess I'm just a pitcher who's had such a long injury history.
Yeah.
I guess you got to ramp him up for the.
I was gonna say like he might be in the process of ramping back up. So like regardless, I think he's gonna throw his 80 pitches and he should be able to dominate this Colorado lineup. But at the same time, it is Coors. We don't want to play pitchers in Coors really, but I think he's in a really good spot just for raw points.
I would say I would have no idea what the Dodgers would do with a player like with his injury history, even though he's ramping up. I think I would lean towards your thought where he is ramping up.
Yeah.
But I would also think in the back of my mind, if it's 3 innings and they're up, what are they going to? I don't know. Why would you risk him of all pitchers right now heading into the playoffs, right?
Yep, I know. It's hard to know.
That's a tough one. Chief, you got any thoughts on Yamamoto?
I'm just not playing him. I think I decided I'm not playing any Dodgers. And if the Dodgers go off for 20 runs in the first 2 innings, I lose. But they're really expensive. And me personally, I'll get into why, but I'd just rather play Arizona today.
Mm-hmm. Is this the backup quarterback and showdown slate? Do you play the Dodger bench? The Dodger bench to get different. Who's going to take some of these players? The Dodgers lineup by the end of the game is going to look different from the start of it. I think we're all in agreement to that. Currently, we have no idea what it is. Do what you will with that. Tim, so offense. Let's talk offense in general here. The Dodgers, we've covered what's happening there. Even the prices, if you wanted to play the Dodgers, they're not really a problem to get to. There's a multitude of cheap pitching. There's a plethora of $200 to $2,500 bats on both sites for you to choose from. You can pay for the expensive bats if you want. If people don't want to use the Dodgers, where else would they be looking at for offense tonight?
Yeah, there's other really good options if you don't want to use the Dodgers. I believe Will just mentioned Arizona, who I absolutely love. We're going to be, way lower owned than the LA Bats. So I love the Diamondbacks. And then I have to talk about this Texas LA game because if I was building like 20 or 150 tonight, I would get overweight on both Canning and the Rangers stack because I think Canning does have, raw point potential at 5,700. He's dirt cheap as your SB2, but also he's really not a very good pitcher, and the Rangers are very affordable. Ian could absolutely shell him. So this is a really, really difficult spot for me to handicap as a single entry player. I think I'm leaning more towards the Rangers getting to him, but I think if I was making multiple teams, I'd be getting over on both because I think it's a really, really it's an okay spot for Canning as well. So there's that. There's that situation. I think the Brewers are in a decent spot tonight, going up against Quintana. I definitely like some of their cheaper bats, and I also like Willie Adames quite a bit. So I do like the Brewers. Yeah, and then I think that's really would be my primary stacks, and then I don't mind some one-offs from the Orioles because I know Zebby's going to get some ownership. So I think getting to a couple Orioles isn't a bad idea. Yeah, and I think that's it for me with stacks.
Yeah, the Orioles lineup today too. They're reasonably priced guys like Holiday. You can get him into your lineup up towards the top. Looks pretty nice today on both sides. Holiday, Chief. So you mentioned Arizona, right? So the teams that have things to play for today would be the Mets, Arizona. The Dodgers don't, and that's basically it. So it's just Atlanta too, right? We didn't really.
Yeah, it's Atlanta, Mets, and Arizona.
Yeah. So you like Arizona out of all the teams, Chief, that have something to play for. They have they're projected almost a full run more than the other teams. Why are you taking Arizona over, say, Atlanta and maybe the Mets?
Well, I just think in a general sense, they're going to have – now, look, Randy Vasquez might only make it 3 innings, okay? So let me make that clear. He may only make it 3 innings. but I think they've got the best chance of early upside, whereas the other two teams are probably going to see some type of a bullpen situation for most of that game. Like, Tim mentioned about Lugo. Like, Lugo's probably going 3 innings, Tim. I mean, that's what I think, 3 innings. And then they get another pitcher, then another pitcher, then another pitcher. Clearly, Milwaukee's planning on doing something similar with Cohen and Myers. And so for me, Arizona is the team that should get a bad starter for – and the Padres, I don't think they really care because they're not going to catch the Dodgers now. So they may actually just let Vasquez get his face punched in for 4 innings. Tim, if we get Randy Vasquez getting his face punched in for 4 innings, then that means Arizona's really done some damage on this slate. So that's just kind of where I am. Britt, Vasquez, one of the lower strikeout pitchers on the slate, giving up almost, giving up. It's only 171 WOBA in terms of the season, but 175 ISO in terms of the season. But like over the past month, it's been even worse than that. He's just not a good real life pitcher at all, and so. Arizona has a shot here with a low strikeout guy to really pile on some runs. That's why they're my favorite team.
All right, there's a quick look at some offensive spots. Let's get into a little more detail, position by position. But before I do that, I got a couple things I need to tell you about. Roto-Grinders, we now have a new service. It's called the Roto-Grinders Combo Lite. If you're looking to take your game to the next level without breaking the bank, you can check out Combo Lite. With this powerful product, you get access to all the tools you need to dominate your league. Sim tools, stat databases, expert advice all in one place. And the best part, it's designed for both casual players and serious competitors, whether you're playing for fun or chasing a big cash prize. Combo Lite has you covered. Check the links in our description for more info on that. So a nice product addition. If you didn't want to pay for the full premium and get access to everything, you just wanted the tools and the sims and a few other things, you can get the Combo Lite and get you access to that. I know a lot of people have been asking that specifically over the course of like baseball for plate IQ and things like that. But check that out for the other sports as well. All right, let's go to catcher. So Tim, let's start off with Will Smith. A question mark. You can afford him. Basically, I'm going to premise this. If you knew Will Smith was only going to get 3 at-bats, is he your top catcher on the slate tonight?
No.
All right. So you want a full game from Will Smith for him to be your top catcher, and we have no way of knowing that. So how would we approach that in general today? Either cash, tournament. Cash is almost completely dead, so maybe you can stick more to single entry, 3 entry. We'll let Chief handle maybe some MME questions.
Yeah. So, I really like William Contreras anyway, because I'm pretty high on the Brewers today. So I don't mind going down a little bit lower from Smith and not even worrying about, the sit factor. I think there's some really strong plays at catcher overall. So I really don't think Will Smith is necessary. I think Adley Rutschman is a completely fine play as well. Cal Raleigh batting third against Estes, I think at 4,300. I think he's a fantastic play as well. And then if you wanted to go cheap, like Gary Sanchez at 3,400, Gabriel Moreno at 3,400, fantastic plays. Heim did not make the lineup, but Kelly did. So if you wanted to go low with Kelly, I think you could do that too. So I really don't think Smith is like absolutely necessary. So I'm not really too worried about missing out on him. There's just other Dodgers that I'm worried about missing out on.
What's going to stink in MME world is whoever gets the right Dodgers starters that play the entire game, and if they go off, is going to be the winner. I feel like tonight, and that seems very difficult to predict at this point in the day. Chief, what are you doing at catcher? If you're avoiding the Dodgers, you're high on Arizona. Do you want to play a Moreno, or would you go to a Contreras, maybe spend up a little more? Because you can afford a high price catcher today if you want to.
Yeah, for me, it's Moreno, Slangliers, it's Cal Raleigh. Those are my 3. And I don't hate Gary Sanchez on the cheap end for sure. Like him and Moreno are the same price. So, take your pick. I'm personally playing Moreno just because it fits my stat. But I like those names we talked about.
All right, let's go to first base, and this will be our Otani discussion too today. And I want to bring up a couple of things chat was talking about too, because I think there's a couple of angles we could out here. I mentioned he's at 54 home runs, 57. People love maybe not round numbers, but the 55-55 club does that sound cool? There's also who is it? Someone said he's going for the Triple Crown, right? So Arez is sitting. Maybe they give him all of his at bats today. In an attempt to do it. Sure.
Yeah, I mean, I don't hate the thinking. Yeah,
that sounds good. So whoever brought that up in chat seems good. He's so expensive. It's not a problem though today, Tim. Nope. So my question to you let's say on DraftKings, where you'd probably want to play Otani at first base if you're playing him. You can get him in the outfield, but you probably also want to play Mookie Betts and Teoscar in the outfield if you want to play them. Would you sacrifice Otani today for a more sure thing? Or if he gets, 2 at-bats of Otani, if it was a normal slate and he was priced 8,100, I wouldn't pay for it. But I think I can almost pay 8,100 for 2 at-bats of Otani if that's in the cards with the possibility of more. If I think you understand what I'm saying.
Yeah, I do. I absolutely do. I mean, he's so far and away the best raw point play on the entire slate. It's not even close. So I completely get what you're saying. I have no issue. I mean, currently I have Otani. Not guaranteeing that I'm going to keep it that way, but right now I have him. And so, he is much better at first. So I don't hate that at all. I don't hate that theory at all, Brett. There are good pivots, though. Obviously, Christian Walker is a fantastic pivot. Pete Alonso is pretty darn cheap at 4,500. Rhys Hoskins, I love quite a bit. 3,800 on DK. So really, for me, it comes down to Otani, or if I want to get to some more Arizona or Milwaukee bats. So I really just narrowed it down to those 3 first basemen.
The Triple Crown thing, I think, makes some sense. So he needs, what is he? He's 5. I just looked this up. He's 5 points back of Arez. So I don't know if going 2 for 4 or 2 for 5 gets him there. But if he gets 2 hits in the, I'd have to run some deep math really quickly here on what would happen. How does he need? 2 hits, 3 hits, and how many at bats? I think that would make sense, right? If I was in Otani's spot, I would want that. And you're not going to tell him no. I don't think so. If that's what he wants, right? So I don't know. I think that's a reasonable angle.
They still must hold their breath though every time he steals a base.
Yeah.
You could pull a hamstring.
They could tell him no
easily.
They could easily tell him no steals today, right?
Yeah.
But at the plate, I think that makes sense. I think I'm okay with Otani, and they sit him tomorrow.
Yeah, possible.
That's the theory I'm going to roll with. I'm going to keep.
Well, Dave Roberts did say Otani was going to quote play every game.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what that means. Is he going to get all of his at bats, or is he just going to start every game? I don't really know.
I'm okay with Otani. You can afford him, and I think even 2 at bats of Otani on this slate, the way it is, he's worth the price today. That's what I'm going to go with. Chief, do you understand what we're saying? Do you have I know you're not playing the Dodgers. I know what you're saying. You're probably on Christian Walker, but what do you think of the theory me and Tim have cooked up?
No, absolutely. I'm just being honest. Mentally, for me, paying $8,100 for a hitter
it's nuts. I looked at it. I was like, what?
It feels so extreme. He's more than a third of the pitchers on this slate. Just think about that. As a hitter, the most, the spot with the most variance. The problem is if he hits 2 home runs tonight, he's probably going to outscore most of the pitchers on this fact. He will outscore most of the pitchers on this slate if he hits 2 home runs tonight. So that's the catch. But I totally get what you guys are saying. And if you could fit him in, be my guest. The reason I can't fit him in is Arizona's, who I'm playing. But I do think, I think Otani's fine. I think Matt Olson is fine. I think Christian Walker is definitely one of the better plays. But I also like Carlos Santana. and Ryan O'Hearn tonight. Like both of these teams, cheap first baseman. You can move Otani to the outfield if you need to. And both of these guys, while they're not flashing like massive power, both have really low K rates and should have some guys in front of them that could get on base and possibly they could drive in some runs tonight. So if you're looking for a little bit of relief, O'Hearn and Santana are two guys that I do like.
All right. Before we get to second base, let me tell you guys about the SimLabs mobile app. It's the expert DFS lineup generation tool from Roto Grinders and Fantasy Labs, known as SimLabs. It just got even better. In addition to the desktop tool, you can now download SimLabs, a mobile app from your app store, and use the power of DFS simulations in the palm of your hand. Available to combo and single sport subs, or you can buy it a la carte in the app store. Make sure to check that out if you're down with the Sims. All right, second base. I don't know. I think this is a position where you can save some money to buy the at-bats of Otani if you want to today. You have Gavin Lux, who's 4,800 in cores. I think if you don't want to save, I think is probably the guy. And Kettle Marte, I know probably even 2 at-bats of Otani for 8,100, Tim, or a full game of Kettle Marte for 6,200. But which one would you want? If I had them head-to-head, I'd probably take the full game from Kettle Marte.
In this
if
matchup,
if I knew I was only getting.
Yeah,
right?
In this matchup, you take Marte, definitely.
Yeah.
But there's certain matchups where you take Otani still.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
But
one of them.
Yeah, but in this matchup, you take Marte. But yeah, this position has great value. Jack Lopez at 2K. Really, really great punt. Brooks Lee at 2.2. He's also shortstop eligible. Jackson Holiday
tonight also.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, right. And Holiday batting leadoff at 3,600. So this is a tremendous position to save at. Obviously, you can play Gavin Lux. I actually just did a really boring bet on him to get an RBI plus 110. So I just bet that as a player prop. So I obviously do like Lux tonight, but he's not necessary at all. But yeah, a great position to save at.
What do you think, Chief, on the cheap guys? Right, I'm looking on DraftKings. You've got. Let's start at maybe Julian at 3,300. So I think he's a reasonably good play. You've got Drury at 3,000. Probably not going to go to him. You've got Lopez at 2,000, and then Brooks Lee is 2,200. Do you have a favorite of those cheap plays?
It's going to be Brooks Lee for me. Batting a 3-hole. Minnesota's a team I've played a ton this year, so and I do like this spot for them. So definitely Brooks Lee out of the cheap guys. But I'm playing Ketel Marte for what it's worth. Sure. I'm going all the way up. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you're on the Diamondbacks. We know Marte is Chiefs dude tonight. I'm pretty sure of that. All right, let's go over to third base. Let's see what we're doing here today, Tim. I was looking to see if we had a Rangers lineup, and that's the only one that hasn't come out yet. Am I correct on that?
No, it came out.
Oh, it did. All right, I was refresh. Maybe our lineups page isn't in there. So
yeah, it's basically Kelly's in for Heim. That's one change.
All right, so it's
Semien, Smith, Langford, Garcia, Lowe, Tavares, Kelly, Harris, and Duran.
All right, yeah. So Duran's last. So not the best spot for Duran. I was looking at him on DraftKings. I wish he was a little bit higher up because he's another cheap player. I would probably cross him. Definitely go cheaper at second base with like a Brooks Lee or somebody like that. Duran loses a little bit of appeal as a cheap play to me. Would you be in the same boat as that? Not at the bottom of the lineup tonight?
Yeah, definitely.
Right.
Yeah, he's definitely not like a strong play.
Yeah. So what are we
last?
So what are we looking at?
Yeah. So third base. Excuse me. Third base. It's kind of a weird position. I don't mind like Mark Vientos at 4,300. I think. For large field GPPs, I really like Ryan McMahon He's going to go super low owned, I would imagine. I think Joey Ortiz at the low end is pretty interesting as part of a Brewers stack. Obviously, we don't mind Max Muncy if we can get to him. Same thing with, I don't mind Royce Lewis. The Twins are in a pretty good spot tonight. I don't think many people are going to play them. So other than like the cheapy guys. So I guess we do have Lewis pretty highly owned. But I still like Royce Lewis. Third base is kind of tough because there's not really like a set guy if you can't get up to Muncy. It's just not like a really, really, really strong value. So I think it's really only in Stack's position.
Mm-hmm. Chief, what do you like at third base overall tonight? Suarez hitting 7th. Is he one of your favorite players, or would you prefer to maybe swerve from him to a Vientos, to somebody else?
Yeah, Luis, Suarez, Vientos, I think are kind of where I'm going to end up. That's pretty much how I'm approaching the slate. As of right now, I do have Vientos, and that's just kind of how it broke out. But if I could get to Suarez and Stack, I could easily kind of do a 2v2 swap and get to Suarez if I want it, and still have a complete Arizona stack. So I'm perfectly fine with those guys. Clearly, I think Muncy is a great play today. I'm afraid of the at bats, and really, once again, it could only take one at bat for him to get there. But I'd much rather have the security of a handful rather than wondering if it's not going to be there. I think if you want to get to, a guy like Wagaman, even against Heaney, I'm not saying he's some elite play, but like if you need some salary relief, then fine. I'm okay with it, but I'm mainly going to be on this trio of 4K guys here: Lewis, Suarez, Vientos.
Yeah, I think Lewis, Tim, probably going to be the guy. On both sides tonight. Shortstop all season, Tim. We've been saying spend on shortstop. I wanted to play Bobby Witt today, but no, looks like he had a good time last night. Not in the not in the lineup today. What do we want to do here, right? Looking at Tommy Edman. I don't. Probably not my favorite overall play. A little uncertainty of at bats with all the Dodgers. If I'm going to play Dodgers, I certainly don't think I'm going to be playing the bottom of the order Dodgers. What would we be doing here? You've got Lindor in basically a must-win game. You've got Tovar against Yamamoto. You've got Willy Adames, who earlier in the show you said you liked a lot. You can save some money here if you're not playing Brooks Lee, right? At second base, you can play him at shortstop. The Jack Lopez Brooks Lee combination on DraftKings basically allows you to do almost whatever you want. So he's really cheap over there. You've got Jackson Holiday, who's $2,700 on FanDuel. I think he's a reasonably good play at shortstop over there. What are your thoughts at the position?
I currently have Willy Adames on both sites. 4,800 on DK, batting cleanup. Really like the Brewers stack tonight. Don't mind the Lindor call. Josh Smith, I think, is a fantastic spot against Canning. If you're not going to do those guys, then it's pretty much going down to some of these cheapies, like a Brooks Lee. So I think it's one of Adames, Lindor, Josh Smith, or Brooks Lee.
Yeah, those are all the guys I would certainly be on as well. Chief, what are you looking at shortstop?
Brooks Lee, obviously, I like him better at shortstop tonight. If I could get up to a Lindor, I would have done it. I just wasn't able to get something like that done tonight. And I'm also okay with Josh Smith at 4K. This isn't a guy that I think is going to get pulled in any stretch. I mean, their season's been over, facing Cannon, who hasn't been great, just reasonably priced. And then obviously, Perdomo's batting in the 9-hole, but I would absolutely use him in a wraparound stack situation.
All right, outfield. Again, Betts, Teoscar. These are players you want to have. Otani on FanDuel. If you want to risk possibly losing an at-bat or two from them, they're in the starting lineup still currently. The Dodgers, if you're just joining us, we've talked about this a lot. The Dodgers have nothing to physically play for today in terms of playoff seeding. They're locked in. They can't improve. They can't go down. So at some point, there will be some substitutions for the Dodgers starters today. I would fully expect, and then tomorrow I expect a really watered down lineup from them as they celebrate tonight. So with that said, Tim, are you still rolling out? Are you comfortable playing a Mookie Betts, a Teoscar, or would you rather go to a Corbin Carroll? Would you rather go to a Langford, a Santander, a Garcia, a Ward type players? Salary doesn't really matter tonight. There's going to be hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of lineups with thousands and thousands of dollars left over in tournaments. That's normally not the case on a reasonably full slate of MLB. What do you think we should be doing?
Yeah, so I mean, it's pretty easy to pivot from Teoscar to Corbin Carroll, and as you can see with projected ownership, most people are going to pivot to Carroll. I think Betts is the more interesting question because he's 6,800. Needs to do a lot to pay off that price tag. So I'm probably out on Betts, but I certainly can't fault anybody if they want to play him at all. I would prefer going lower to Carroll or Teoscar. And then there's also guys like, Julio Rodriguez at 4,400, I think is in a fantastic spot. I think Wyatt Langford is in a great spot as well. So some guys in the low fours that are in great spots. Jackson Chourio at 4,300. I think those are all really good plays in like that 4K range. And then I don't know, like going down in outfield is pretty tough today. I think like Victor Robles at 3,800, I think is a decent like value play, but there's not a lot of guys like 3,500 and below that I'd be really like wanting to get to. So if you have to live in that 4 to 5K range in outfield, I don't think that's horrible.
Chief, what are you doing? I know you're definitely playing Carroll. Anyone else from Arizona, or would you prefer some of these other guys who aren't Dodgers?
Yeah, definitely like Carroll, definitely like Jock also. I really like JJ Bleday today, just kind of as a weird, interesting, cheap guy against Seattle. One of my favorites. Just as a one-off, nice power. K rate isn't too high. Believe it or not, the Atlanta outfield isn't overly expensive. Ozuna's 5,200, but Solaire's 4K, Laureano's 3,500, Michael Harris is 4,800. Like if you want to get those guys, they're not going to get a whole bunch of Lugo. This team needs to win also. So I don't hate their outfield either. But if you ask me straight up, my favorite outfields for sure the Diamondbacks, and then like I said, I really like JJ Bleday today as a one-off.
All right, so no updates to the Dodgers lineup. Do with it what you will. Let's take some questions. If you're in the YouTube, we'll take a couple of questions from you guys. I don't really see any in the live stream chat. Got that on built T with some nice information. Thank you for that during the course of the show. But let's see if we have any questions from the YouTubes. Nothing out here. Let's see. Just hold on. Victor Robles. FanDuel tournament utility, 4,200 or less. So I'll pull that up. Let's see what we got. That's a lot of money on the FanDuel.com. Tim.
I mean, it's Max Muncy. I mean, that's the play.
So I would say or less, right? So of the do you prefer Teoscar or let's say he's playing Dodgers? You prefer Teoscar or Muncy?
I still want Muncy. I think the bat disagrees with me. I'm not sure, but I'm
not asking the bat, Tim. I'm asking you.
Yeah. So. Then it's Muncy. Then it's Muncy
right.
for me.
Would you take them over a Corbin Carroll who has no question marks if you had any sort of uncertainty on it?
Yeah, I mean, that really depends on what you want to do with your money. If you want to stack Dodgers in that team, go Muncy. If you don't, go Carroll.
Yeah, and Carroll would be I like Chief. Carroll's my top non-Dodger bat, correct?
Yes.
In the outfield for sure. All right. So
yes.
we're all in agreement on that one. I see EMAC on there. Finally be Sunday. Ground you. Oh yeah, I do see EMAC, and I see EMAC in the Yahoo streets too. In those secretly, I'm sure EMAC knows because EMAC's pretty smart. The Yahoo NFL leagues, my goodness, those are the money makers. I know Emacs in some of those, but the season long, I really want. It's a format. It doesn't seem like there's a lot of questions. I have no idea why this isn't prevalent on DraftKings and FanDuel, but it's season long. It used to be on Fantasy Feud, right? It's season long DFS, but you make a lineup every week. How is this not like a popular thing? I know DraftKings and FanDuel want you to churn every day, multiple times a day, but the season long DFS, where you can kick out your lowest score or things like that. That I love this format, and Yahoo has it. So these are like the best things in the league for someone who's going to play every week and generally makes reasonably good lineups. It's an excellent form of DFS in there. But I let everyone in on the biggest secret in DFS over on Yahoo. Chris wants to know Hancock, Canning, or Estes for FanDuel cash today. Tim.
I'd go Hancock.
Yeah, I think Hancock or Erod for me. And Tim convinced me. Maybe I talked myself out of Erod for the fact that if Erod isn't great, I think he would get a quick hook and not have the ability to recover. Where Hancock, who cares, right? If you have a bad first or second inning, he's going to go out there for his, pitch allowance and not get hooked because there's nothing to play for them. Let's see. We got a couple more. Julio Rodriguez. Oh, let's see. That's Tim. I don't know. I guess that's about it. I don't see anything over. Oh, Frazier or Haniger is a one-off for a DraftKings tournament today. So Frazier's dirt cheap today. What is he? 2,200. He's not like a preferred cheap option. There's other positions you'd want to go cheap at. Frazier or Haniger. I'll throw that to you, Chief.
I guess I'd go Frazier. But I mean, I'm not. Frazier leading off, I think, is fine. He's cheap. Let's go Frazier.
Maybe he gets on base once or twice, Tim. Frazier.
Yeah, I mean, I they're both pretty bad. Yeah. But I think I'd go Frazier.
Yeah, I think I would too. All right, it looks like that's going to do it for the questions. I hope all of you. I see someone was congratulating us on a good MLB regular season. I was pretty much like a Saturday only. That's what I used to do these all the time, pre kids, and now with 2 kids and not a lot of help. Basically, you can only do baseball on the weekends. I'll see if I'm back for NBA. I'm debating currently. Do I want to do NBA? Because you can't like sit out of NBA for a day or two. You got to be in the
school. You have to really commit. You have to really commit to NBA.
Yeah. NBA is a grind, man.
You got to be in every day for NBA. So I'm currently deciding if I can do that every single day to be in on the know of it, or if I just want to basically blank and click buttons off scores and odds, Chiefs posting, and make my money through sports betting for NBA.
I'll give a quick tater real quick. Willie Adames plus 500 on FanDuel.
Oh yeah, that's good odds. I'll go get on that one right now. If you're looking for a football bet, how about the over in the Bengals Panthers game? That it's at 47. That is a lie. That game's going over 50 for sure. So I like that one. If you can, I bet it. I posted that on Scores and Odds. I didn't post to be at the highest scoring game of the week, but neither of those teams play defense. Chief, I believe in your boy Andy Dalton, the only 303 passer in the NFL this year, going to light up the Bengals. I think that game's going to have some fireworks, buddy.
We'll see, man.
What's the Chief? Give me field conditions for the Panthers. What's your research provided for me for there? Has the field been destroyed?
No.
So the field's good for the Panthers.
Yeah, no field destroying with the Panthers. I've been to that stadium a bunch, and it's actually built pretty high off the ground. So like, they're going to be good. Trust me.
We're taking the over on that one.
They're good.
That's going to do it. Chief, you got any props you're looking at this weekend, or any? Probably not for tonight in baseball. Anything you got football wise?
NFL. I have an unreasonable amount of Mooney shares this week.
Oh yeah, love it.
Just an unreasonable amount. Unreasonable amount of Najee, rushing attempts and yards.
I can get behind that.
Let me pull it up, Britt, because I have so many things put in, man. You just have to bear with me here. Believe it or not,
TJ's in the background, just like, come on, guys, but we're gonna do it anyway, TJ.
I have a whole bunch of Bo Nix passing attempts.
If I'm gonna make us late to start, you guys can make us late. I'll allow it. I'll allow it.
Yeah, Bo Nix passing attempts, for whatever reason, Coach Payton wants him throwing the football, and to me, it's not like everything downfield. He's got the Drew Brees going, right, Britt? Dink and dunk and get you down the field. Well, he's just racking up passing attempts at 32. Now, the Jets, I know they don't play fast, but hopefully they can move the ball enough for him to keep throwing it. I've got some of Amari Cooper stuff, like yards and targets at 7.5. Let me see what else. But like those ones that I gave you, Mooney, Nix, Najee, I've probably got way more exposure this week than I should, but I'm going to live with what the research says.
Sounds good. Underdog, I didn't even realize this till right before the season started. Somehow they are back in New York. So, Chief, I can play in the streets with you.
Oh, man.
On Underdog. So I am in there in the streets, and these come out early. I'm in there on like Monday morning or Sunday night sometimes, firing for the week ahead. So they come out real nice on there. Glad to at least have an option to get back into those the pick'em streets with you on those. Other than that, thanks for everybody for watching baseball all season long, not just from me, but from all the hosts here at Roto Grinders. If you want to see Tim's handsome face, tune in at 9:30 for football. Chief, are you on for any football tomorrow?
Oh, yeah, man. Yeah, I'm doing crunch time, right. NFL crunch time all year, it seems like. So I'm excited about that. I really enjoyed it.
I'm missing out, but I will be clicking lineups while you are talking through crunch time and while Tim's on. Make sure to watch those shows. Fun, entertaining, and full of good information. Other than that, have fun tonight. Good luck in baseball. Good luck tomorrow, guys. For Tim and Chief, I'm Britt. Thanks for watching all year, and we out, y'all.